And if you're just coming in, I am working on some things here to see if we can get things going. And if not, that's okay too. Okay. So we'll come back over here to that later on. Thank you for being here, everybody. I want to talk to you about a few things. Of course, my thing is nutrition, and that's what I'm going to share with you. I know it's a little late. Let me see. Not that late for those that are grown, but sometimes we stay up a little later. I am doing this so that this is something that you can take to sleep with you and start this new week off with some really wonderful thoughts. So, the very first thing that I want to talk about, I want to discuss some things that are myths, and then we have some things that are what are called proven risk. And these proven risk is that the UV, the rays, ultraviolet rays from the sun are detrimental to our health. Smoking is detrimental to our health. Excess alcohol is detrimental to our health. Processed meat is definitely very detrimental to our health. And obesity. Obesity makes every other disease worse. So it's something that we want to look into. And the other things like stress and burnt food and mobile homes, these are myths. And the other proven risk are those things, just like it says proven, because that's what science is. It proves that we are um, experiencing the same thing in a large amount of people. Now, when it comes down to the understanding of craziness, as you see that I actually said that crazy is when you don't understand what's going on. I'm sorry, it's when, was when you don't understand what's going on with yourself. But mental health problems are those things that have been diagnosed and other people don't understand what's going on with you. So, this complex situation that we constantly look in, uh, mostly because this is something that we see every day, we hear about every day, and we even our leadership just comes totally packaged with people that are mentally ill so widespread now you have no idea who's who. You don't know who is what we would call mentally challenged or those who aren't. Now this used to be all about the little jokes about the little yellow bus that would come and have all the children, and they would get out of school before everybody else, special children. But we still have those children that need special attention. But one thing that we're neglecting is ourselves. So let's talk a little bit about the behavior influence of food, the psychological factors and environmental cues that affect food choices and eating patterns. Okay. So eating patterns by itself is just really wild and it's not balanced. And people look for an answer from something that is the problem. The problem is that we're not eating when we should, and we're eating too much when we do. So let's think about getting those smaller saucers, those plates instead of the big salad plate. Reduce the size of your plate, reduce the size of the pot, reduce the size of the serving. So these are some of the things you can do right away. Now, if you've been up since about 5 a.m. or earlier, you should have been your cut off time that is for eating should have been about 3 to 4 hours ago. And this will allow you to get deeper sleep. Some of the things to help you to understand exactly what these particular words mean so that you have a better understanding of what is going on with your body. At first, we start off with ingestion. Now, ingestion is the process of consuming food through eating or drinking, and that has to be one of the easier words to remember, to ingest. We hear digestion all the time. Now, digestion is to break down the food in smaller molecules in our gastrointestinal tract. And other people just simply call that our digestive system. The absorption is very important, and this is a word that expresses the process of absorbing nutrients into the bloodstream for or from the intestines. Most of our breaking down of the food and the processing of the food goes through the duodenum, and or some people call it the duodenum. And what happens is shorter, is stronger. It breaks down food, and then it also distributes the food, the nutrients throughout the body. And the absorption of nutrients is super important, because if we don't get those nutrients in our bodies, then we suffer with the lack of strength, no energy, sleepiness, fatigue, weakness, and musculature, all of those things. And then there's other things that we get because we definitely get deficiencies, like, we have Malaysia, or the softening of bones, and osteomalacia, or we have all types of different skin problems. We have problems with our it can be, from our oral health all the way to our systemic health. So it's really important for you to find out more information as you continue to grow and live through life, so it'll make it easier on you. Metabolism is next. Now, most people, I need a faster metabolism. These are partial things that people learn, and then they spew them out, just like they're clear about what they are. But metabolism does not work like a bicycle, and I've heard even professionals use that. Yeah, it's just like when you just speed up a bike, and it's not like that. But when you think about metabolism, think about the conversion of absorbed nutrients into energy and building blocks for your body. So you see, is more metabolism goes into the conversion of absorbed nutrients from, for instance, if you're talking about a vitamin A, that is turning, you get that from carotenoids, for instance. Carotenoids, then the body extrapolates the vitamin out of the carotenoids. That's the color of, like, carrots and peaches and squash, so on. So this is why it's important to know. Remember this: when you talk about metabolism, you're talking about the conversion of absorbed nutrients into energy or building blocks for the body. Next is storage. Now, storage, excess nutrients are stored as glycogen in the liver and the muscles, or as fat in adipose tissue. And you probably heard about this, like when people hit the wall, for instance, when they're running, and they're running, like the people that run over 26 miles in competition, or those people that just run very long distance miles, and they may not be competing. But what happens to the body, it is called hitting the wall, which is just slang for running out of energy. But what that body actually depends on is the energy that's stored in the different muscles. That energy, or those nutrients, they're stored as another nutrient called glycogen. And glycogen is in the liver and the muscles. And then adiposity, or the fatness of a body, many times the body uses the absorption of nutrients in order for it to balance itself out and to live. But the body does everything that it can to live. Okay, so now let's move along to the utilization of utilization, is like the cells for instance, uses glucose and fatty acids for energy production through cellular respiration. And this is happening all the time, or else we wouldn't have any energy at all. Excretion is a word you should be familiar with also, and that's the removal of undigested food and waste products from your body. So many times it can be excess mucus that's excreting, that kind of thing. Excretion should also bowel movement. Excretion is also when you sweat. So you can look at excretion as many things, but it's the removal of undigested food and waste products from the body. So we excrete that. There's another word, regulation, and I just used it. And this is when you have a regulated bowel movement or regulated waste. This is when your body is actually excreting, is getting rid of the waste, but it is regulation means on a regular basis. So that means that if you are going to the bathroom at 6 a.m. every morning, this is regulated. But if you are going to the bathroom at 6 sometimes, and then other times you don't go until 4 p.m., and then there might be another time that you thought you had, but something interrupted you and you held on to it. And sometimes people even go into days without having a bowel movement, and then they're faced with sepsis or septicemia, which then is a blood problem that can definitely threaten your life itself. Then we have the behavior influence. The behavioral influence, I'm talking about the psychological factors and the environmental cues after the food choices and eating patterns. These are patterns that we have learned, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and that these are the different ways that the SAD, or what's called the standard American diet, this is the way that we've learned how to eat over the years. And that doesn't help at all, because it still teaches us to eat that large meal at the end of the day. And that large meal at the end of the day, this used to be in place because we used to have, it was when the father went out and worked in the field, or the industrial period when the father would work in the different the mill or the factory, foundry, whatever, and then that father comes home late, and he is, you know, applauded by his not physically applauded, but happy that the father is coming home, because the father is known as the breadwinner. And if he brings the so-called bacon home, everybody's glad to see him, right? And even to this day, it's the same thing, where you have people that are still eating these large meals, but we're not in the industrial period, nor are we in earlier periods before that, where that was something that was very acceptable. And now I'm going to go one more in adaptation, which is super important to be able to adapt. The body adjusts the metabolic processes based on dietary habits and energy needs. So, for the most of it, when we're looking at the way that we eat, what we're looking at is we're looking at the ways that we've learned to eat. And most of our habits are directly connected to our religions. Regardless of your religion, what you believe dictates what you eat. There are a lot of very religious stances that people take, and let me tell you, it is science, because it's definitely proven that people are eating the way that they feel or that they believe is the best way for them to eat for themselves. Okay, so the next question here is, what do humans want more than life itself? The answer is euphoria. And when we look at euphoria, we're talking about some of the things that you can eat or some of the things that you can drink. And when you eat or you drink these things, what happens is that many people just simply just fall in love with what they eat. is so good that their eyes roll back and it's like, oh God, I got to have some more of that. And the reason that they have to have more of that is because they've been eating at such a long time that they actually feel like that is um, the way to enjoy food. And that euphoria can come through overeating, which is eating too much having too much in your gut. That euphoria can come from a lot of sugar. It can come from grease, fatty, deep fried foods. It can come from ultra processed foods, like in our lunch meats, the meats that we get from the delicatessen. All of these things are some of the things that you should be aware of. And this is for those of you that really want to do better, when you want to do better as far as what you're thinking about putting in your body, how it helps you to be strong. And this is also for people that are leaders, because if you're not a leader, you know what? You'll eat um, you just follow what everybody else eats. All right, to make it easy. And this is something that when it comes to food, people follow people. You can see, like, when people go out, if somebody's eating something crazy and greasy, the next person does the same thing. Hell, this is just a celebration, and they have um, some kind of excuse for the way that they're eating, until you find somebody that is having end stage kidney disease, or until these are people that have problems with the urinary tract, people that have all kinds of digestive disorders like IBS, constipation, they have polyps and hemorrhoids. Some people that haven't gone to the bathroom to excrete the waste in many days. Well, that can make them terribly sick and very, very uncomfortable. So it is really important that you take care of yourself, and so we can avoid many of these, let's call them illnesses. There's many people that also have all kinds of symptoms from day to day. Now, it's something that I love to say and say over and over, because it has so much to do with um, the way that your body will maintain itself, and that is to get examinations. If you haven't gotten any examinations here lately, you should be able to have go and get a medical examination at least once a year. At least once a year. I've met some very, very responsible, a few guys I talked to. Guys aren't so open to it as much as women are, and women tend to take care of themselves a little better, guys. I mean, that's just the truth. Guys are, they're tripping on that machismo thing. It's like, I got this. I take care of myself. I've been taking care of myself all this time. Nobody can tell me what to, that whole thing. So when it comes down to it, look, get yourself checked out, because in most cases, if you discover something early, then you have the ability to take care of it earlier. But if you wait until it gets a little more and more mature, like, you go to second stage, third stage, fourth stage, now then what you're doing is that you're not helping yourself to avoid what could have been avoided. How? Examination. Get the examination. Let me also throw this in, because I know I hear this quite a bit, that, doctors are dangerous, or I'm scared of doctors because they act like this, they act like that. If we went to a peanut factory, you will find people that work there that are absolutely angels, and you will find people there that are just, since we're talking about mental health, nutty as a fruitcake. They will definitely change your mind about how nice people are that work at peanut factories. But when you look at anything, including doctors, when you go there and you ask questions, especially intelligent questions, you'll find yourself making a better decision about the doctor that you want to assist you anyway. If you get one of a doctor that is acting like he's a rap artist, you have those guys that want to connect with younger people sometimes, or you have a doctor that is flirtatious, or he's not about business, then that doctor should be reported so that you will get justice when it comes to some of the things that he'll make a mistake, or she'll. It goes for females too. But I'm telling you from my experience, more and more doctors are now learning differently, being aware of different things that they should know, and take. It's really better for you to take a chance to make sure that you're okay than it is to say, I'm not letting anybody touch my body. So get a responsible person. If you worry about guys, get a gynecologist, a female gynecologist. If you don't want you just don't want to work with a woman, and then there's plenty guys that are doctors. So you have no excuse. Just take care of yourself, okay? So let's go back to, we have any questions here? Can I get any questions here? Okay. I just got on this, and right now I'm um, talking to a few people on Instagram as well, as well. No, we're on YouTube, and we're on on Facebook. So Facebook and YouTube listeners and people that are here today, thank you very much for being here. It's no surprise to me, or probably anybody else, that we could definitely take care of ourselves better. If I were to put on a hat and da 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 da, people love that stuff. I mean, entertainment is number one. There's people that really acknowledge celebrity. So when a person is famous, it's like uh, something comes over them where they just is, I can't believe it, And I work with a lot of celebrities, and those celebrities, it becomes funny to them too, because they know that just with celebrity alone, they can sit down and talk to a person that's having ailments, maybe let's call it a stomach ache. And then you take a celebrity that can go and talk to a person with a stomach ache and perhaps persuade them that they can do better, that they need to take some aspirin, or they should drink this or take that. And these people, guess what? We give them a listening ear because they are celebrity. And the more you're known, and the deeper people go into the way that they feel about you, whether you're an actor or whether you are a vocalist. We can really get into that now. What I'm talking about right now rings true, because right now, when I'm talking about it, you can think of people that were leaders in the entertainment business, and they didn't know how to deal with the authority that they have, and they abused it. Sometimes your talent can take you places that your character can't maintain. And this is what happens with a lot of folks that are out there with that kind of authority. And not only that, when you look at other people that have been given great authority to call the shots, when people are being very, very abusive, well, look what happens. People, they act like it's some big old secret, like, I don't know what was wrong with him. His parents brought him up like this. They've always had money. Look, authority itself. You got the person that's maybe a security officer, is he's dying to be a policeman. And the policemen, they want to be, what else do they want to be? Soldiers. And the soldiers want to be generals, and the generals want to be presidents. Everybody wants something that they can't have, or that they don't have. And that's just human. And that's the way it goes sometimes. But there are many people that are very disciplined, people that are very likely to take me up on the offer to go and get yourself checked out. and that will be definitely a big smile on my face. There's a few things else I want to share with you here when it comes down to the excessive sugar on the body and the brain. Now, when you're eating excessive sugar, you can definitely challenge the heart. Now, remember, we're dying from heart problems more than any other problem to date, and it's still leading as number one. And not just stress, but the way that we eat and who we hang around and what we do, what we say, how we feel. All of those things are connected with heart diseases. And there's other things now. Of late, there's been an increase in dementia. So when you have different mental diseases or illnesses such as Alzheimer's and other mental illnesses, the eating of sugar and deep fried foods and processed foods don't do anything but make it worse. So you have many people that are very, very smart. I know many people that are very smart and they're in this field, but because they don't have the discipline, or they don't take the discipline, they continue to eat the very food that makes them a victim to sugar and oil and excessive salt. Now we talk about some of the brain's reaction to sugar. We'll start that off. Sugar activates the brain's reward system, and that they start them to release the dopamine. You heard of endorphins and dopamine and serotonin, on and on. These are feel good, even oxytocin. That even is really, all of these are the feel good substances that comes out and secreted in our brain. And these particular hormones that we secrete, they make a big difference in the way that we feel, including increasing the sugar intake to lead to the cravings and the addiction like behaviors. See, a lot of times you're not addicted, but sometimes when people don't assert themselves with discipline, and they just throw anything in them. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. It's not that you're hungry. It's just that you've been eating at the wrong time. If you eat something at least every 2 minutes, especially you have a voracious um, appetite, then you eat little or small amounts, and you do that every 2 hours. And this way, you'll also be ready for your largest meal in the middle of the day instead of eating it later on or a couple hours before you go to sleep. When you eat all that food at just a few hours before you go to sleep, guess what? You're going to have interrupted rest. Now, some people say, "No, I just go to sleep. I sleep all the way through it." But you might get by, but you can't get away. You have to allow your heart to rest. Systemically, our body rests inside, and then we're good to go, because nothing ever stops. It keeps going. It keeps going. And 100 years is a long time to live, although people are living longer now because of the wonderful findings and discoveries in medicine. However, you have many people that are dying prematurely because, again, they're not taking these wise steps that I am parting with you now. The sugar consumption can also enhance your mood temporarily, but it may lead to crashes later. So, in other words, you can be up, feeling great, all that insulin is flowing through your blood, and then what happens? The insulin causes your blood sugar to go down low, and that's when it's called a crash. If you did not have any energy while you was resting, and your blood sugar would get too low, then you would have really big problems, because your body still needs energy to move, to do things, to be active, whether you're asleep or getting sleepy, or whether you are just not eating enough. In this case, when you keep eating a lot of food that causes your sugar to rise or to peak, if you have a sugar peak, then that's what's going to happen. All of when the insulin comes out and does this thing, and then your blood level or the glucose level goes very, very low, then what happens is you can cause a very, very horrible feeling, the lacking no energy. You can just simply faint, fall out, and not even know what happened. You have to keep all of that in balance. Most people that need this, guess what? They don't listen because they think, again, I got my stuff together. Nobody can tell me anything. A few more I want to share with you. The brain may become desensitized to sugar, requiring more for the same pleasure. So when you feel good from eating maybe toast and jam, maybe you feel good if you had some farina or some cream of wheat with butter and sugar all in it, or honey in it, as far as that's concerned. But you, when you have those, just the simple things like that, you can simply cause yourself to have a kind of addictive behavior. You want it, you crave it, and you won't stop until you finally get it. High sugar levels can impair your cognitive function and memory over time. So, over time, along with these other things that can happen as far as your brain is concerned, protect your brain. And you do that, and we've talked about the omega 3s, the anti inflammatory properties of EFAs. All of these things come along also with these instructions. Now, long term high sugar diets are linked to an increased risk of your neurodegenerative diseases. And your neurodegenerative diseases, this is specifically talking about your nervous system. In the nervous system, you will hear parasympathetic nervous system, sympathetic nervous system, your central nervous system. You have all these different types of nervous systems so that our body can communicate properly to itself. But when it becomes degenerative, that means that you lose the health, starts to degenerate, and therefore you don't have anything to help you to feel healthier because, again, it's degenerating. So keep that in mind. That's the brain's response to sugar, and it can again vary and is based on individuals' genetics and their metabolism. So keep that in mind. And lastly, I want to share this word that gets out and people don't know what the heck it is, but they use it a lot, and it's called moderation. Now, what does moderation mean? It means to eat in a balanced way. Now, what is balance? That means that you're going to not overdo it. Again, having too much food at the wrong time, especially that last meal. Since you're not going to be using a lot of energy as you're getting ready to go to bed, it doesn't make sense to eat a large plate of food going to bed with it. It's as simple as that. Eating in moderation means what? If you compare the activity that you're doing with the food that you're eating, and it's balancing it out just enough for you to wait for another couple of hours, that's balance. Balance is not talking about that means you got to have your fruit, and you remember the four basic fruits there. You know, you have to have fruit with your meat and your then some vegetables, and you have to have your carbs or your starches. That's not what balance. That's not the best definition I can give you for it. So stop that madness. Here are some of the things that here, as you see, sharing with you. These are the different the nuts, the legumes. You got, oh man, the avocado, look at that giant seed. And then some people are still eating fish, and this fish has been around since the world. So as long as when we developed or we knew or discovered fish, we've been using that. But if you are just eating just the plants, then your plants should not be roasted as much as you can. Stay away from that and get used to your raw pecans, your raw cashews, your raw pistachios, on and on. So those are some of the things that you can definitely do. And as we continue, um, we talk about the omega 3s. And the omega 3s are, these are the acids that you find like in walnuts. Omega 3s are excellent when it comes to anti inflammatories. Kale, Brussels sprouts, flaxseed, wild rice, arugula beans, basil, and spinach. All of these are just really wonderful and very, very healthy sources of omega 3s. So be sure that you keep that in mind and add that to all the list of things that you continually do. We talked about the oils. You want to stay away from those oils that are saturated, because those saturated fats, again, can be deleterious to your body. And that's something that you can avoid. That's not something that's forced on you. But keep in mind that when you are eating the different types of chips and snacks, you can also increase the risk of infection and disease. Now, the effects of salt. Salt, when it comes to salt, salt is found in all living tissues in small amounts, in processed foods, and in your salt shaker itself. The salt consumption should not exceed 1,500 to 2,000 milligrams in range, about that's a quarter teaspoon, for people who are healthy and are not experiencing any health problems. Now, if you are experiencing health problems, you should be way lower than that. Something like maybe 600 to about 800 milligrams in range. Sodium is natural. And you hear it said sometimes called sodium chloride, but sodium chloride is natural and is unprocessed foods. In That's not a problem. The unprocessed foods is not a problem because we need this for a mineral balance and, very importantly, our electrical energy. Now, some natural sources of high sodium vegetables are celery and boiled beets and boiled beet greens. Now, the bad thing about that is if you eat too much salt, you can cause water retention. You've heard me call that edema, and edema is something that is pretty doggone popular. Now, bloating and the weight gain, all of that stuff comes when you do overdo it with your salt. Some people put just too much salt in their food because they want to enhance the taste. Now, it can stiffen the walls of your arteries, leading to increased blood pressure, which can cause strokes. High blood pressure also damaging small vessels, which can affect the retina in the eyes. Excess salt can also affect the kidneys by destroying the filters. So these are things that you should know. If you start to destroy the filters in your kidneys, which are the nephrons, you will definitely be sorry that you did. So now, taking all of this, I gave you some antidotes to some of the problems there. So it's not all bad, but these are things that definitely, these kind of foods, when you eat the healthy foods, you can also manage the mood disorders. And mood disorders are the mental health conditions that affect your mood. The depressive disorders involve sad, happy, empty, irritable, ugh, all of these, a mixture of moods, along with physical and thought, cognitive changes that affect the ability to function. So keep those things in mind as we keep going. It does make a difference. The food that you eat can affect your moods. And remember, you want omega-3 fatty acids, whole grains. You also want fresh fruit and vegetables, fermented foods. We talked about kimchi and sauerkraut. We talked about other foods, yogurt, non-dairy yogurt, by the way, kombucha. All of these are fermented, and they work well. Dark chocolate, lean proteins, nuts and seeds, limit sugar and processed foods. And remember to stay hydrated. Dehydration can negatively affect your mood and your cognitive function. Also, you just want to don't drink over 3 cups of caffeine. Even if it's coffee or if it's tea. Remember, you don't want to overdo it. Getting back to staying hydrated. Now, this means that if you're not drinking enough, and remember, nothing is better than drinking pure water. Water gets to your system faster than all those other mixtures of different beverages, and you can do without all of the different preservatives and colors and all the artificial tastes that they put in all of those drinks. So don't put water to the side and say, I don't need it. What you do is you make sure that you continue to drink water all throughout the day. Okay? So thank you very much, everybody. I really appreciate you being here. And I think I got some of the things I'm going to continue to come to you with a lot of information. And this information can definitely help you more and more when you continue to follow the examples. Because when you follow the examples, I'm telling you, you're going to feel better. And when you feel better, you enjoy life better. You are a joy to be around, and it's a joy to have people that are also giving you the love and giving you the respect that you deserve. So really appreciate it, everybody. Remember, I'm Dr. Zarif. You can also pick up my book here. If you want to get more information, start reading, just go to drzarif.com. This is one of my books here, Slaves of the Tongue. I have another book coming out any day now. And so, stay tuned for that. But here you go. Just make sure you go to drzarif.com. And there's some more things there, too. You can actually join, and we'll talk about those things later. Now, one of the things that I want to leave you with is remember that anything beats a zero. So when you exercise, even if you don't do 50, who cares? Get something done. Anything beats a zero. Now, if you need help with that, just simply go to drzarif.com and then set a schedule that I can talk to you, or I'll have someone get back to you, and we'll set up an appointment so that you can get started and stay on your exercise. If you don't have like a lot of friends and people, somebody in the family say, yeah, I help you. Well, that's what I'm here for in case that doesn't happen. Okay. So thank you very much, everybody. I'm Dr. Zarif, the nutritionist.